following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
To the Adventure and Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Wake up, America! It's time for the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY.com, West Palm Beach's #1 internet radio station. Here's your host, the Pipeman.
Yo! It's Monday, Motivational Monday. I just got off a great weekend of a bunch of events on the Pipeman Radio Tour, and we're going to talk about it today because you know what? Getting out there in the world, events, doing things, they're all motivational. They're physically motivational, they're mentally motivational, and they're emotionally motivational. And so let's bring on our motivational pipe nuts, and let's talk about it. All right, we did. So Juan, in the beginning, maybe I shouldn't have that overlay up top there, or I should adjust or something because it keeps covering the top of my head. Maybe that's good. I don't know. If it were Rebel, it might be better.
Yeah, we would move it lower.
Does she even have her mic on? Or is she muted?
Do. I have my mic on.
Way out of the frame.
Okay, so anyway, yeah, I just got off of, it was a very busy weekend. Okay, so Friday, I was at the Hot Air Balloon Festival at the South Florida Fairgrounds.
Did you throw anybody out of the balloon?
No, actually, I kind of ended it before I got to the balloon place.
Oh, can't wait to hear this.
Oh, no, well, no, you know.
He can neither deny or confirm any claims.
It might be more talk for Wednesday's show than today's show because it might not be that motivational. Or you know what we're going to do? We're going to bring on Christine from 50 Shades of Bullshit, and maybe we'll talk about that next Monday when we talk about relationships. Okay? Because yeah, I got to tell you, you brought it up, but now you hit a sore spot, Rebel. It's like time is getting faster and faster, and now I eliminate people in faster and faster time. It used to be, you know, first it was I was married for 12 years. The second marriage was shorter. Then dating got shorter. Now within like 10 seconds, you're eliminated. But that is motivational. No, seriously, because what we always do in life, we always find a reason to make the puzzle piece fit into the wrong piece, you know, that like, and try to force it in there. Listen, the minute that puzzle piece does not even align, get rid of it. Put it somewhere else.
True. I guess that, you know, it's no point in trying to force something that ain't there.
But we all do it. You know, we all we see the red flags, we ignore them. We see certain things, we ignore them. I'll give you a perfect example of something that happened just today already. Somebody noticed on my, and we'll talk about this more in detail next week, but on my online profile, after they asked to exchange numbers, now, first of all, relationships. Okay, relationships, you should probably figure things out, especially on an online dating site, before you exchange numbers, not after. Okay, so basically they found out that I don't drink, and that was a problem for them. And that's something we are going to talk about next week because I get that all the time. That's why I rarely drink now. Okay. And I say that because that was stupid. But okay, so the thing one, she hated that I didn't drink. It made her uncomfortable. Many dates I've gone out in my life, it makes them uncomfortable. If it makes you uncomfortable that I'm not drinking, that's your problem, not my problem, okay? But so I decided I'll learn something from the first marriage. Thing two, I would drink once in a while, rarely, just so she wouldn't be uncomfortable. Which that's kind of ridiculous too, which we'll talk about next week, because you know what? You should not do something you would not normally do just so somebody else doesn't feel uncomfortable. Okay. And, people always think that I have like an alcohol problem and that's why I don't drink. God forbid somebody just doesn't like it. And especially here in South Florida. Okay. Because South Florida, like, it's funny. I could give ticket giveaways here. And people like the music, like the band. They're like, no, thanks. I'll just meet you afterwards at the bar. Like, why would I do that? I'm at a concert. I'm not going to a bar. Like, that's stupid, my opinion. But the point is that, so alcohol, if you do it, that's great. Why not have a conversation about it? And that was my response. Because she automatically was like, okay, I'm not texting or calling you now because I just found this out. And I like to go out once in a while and socially drink. And I would feel uncomfortable. First of all, I call people out on this shit. I don't want to repeat it over and over because we'll probably talk about it next week. But since we'll be doing relationships. But fact of the matter is if you feel uncomfortable, maybe you're not drinking once in a while to just be social. Then the truth came out. It's like 3, 4, 5 times a week. Oh, just 1 or 2 drinks with my friends. And I called straight out. I'm like, you are not a social drinker. You are a drinker. Like if you drink that many days a week, I don't care if 1 or 2, you're not a social drinker. If you look up the definition for social drinker, it's rarely drinks, not on a consistent basis. And if you can't go out on one date with somebody without having a drink, that's an issue too in my book. But
it's a serial drinker.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a serial non-drinker. And if I don't feel
what's the problem with not drinking, I mean,
I get it all the time. Like I've gotten it my whole life.
Yeah,
I'm just
same.
It's like ridiculous. Like you're the one in the wrong.
People get offended when you tell them you don't drink.
Yeah, like you're the one in the wrong.
Okay, wait a minute.
Like there's something wrong with you because you don't have an addiction to alcohol.
All right. First of all, just drinking occasionally is not an addiction. There's a difference. But what does it matter if someone else drinks or not? Like I've gone to places with people that were drinking. They just made me the designated driver.
Yeah, it's a great thing. They have a built-in designated driver. Second of all, I got to tell you, back when I was in my 20s, I would go out. I worked at Prudential Insurance, and they would all go out every Friday to the Rusty Scupper, which was right in the same plaza, to go drink, and I'd go with them. And they would all say to me, they're like, man, yeah, you don't need to drink. You're just as ridiculous without the alcohol. And I'm like, yep. And then I can turn that switch right off. Like, I think I did say to this person something to the effect of that, why do I need false courage just because you do?
Ooh. Well,
yeah.
Yeah.
And then they said, oh, it seems you're triggered. I'm not triggered. I'm just calling it the way it is.
The trigger calling person is probably the one that's being triggered.
No doubt.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
It goes beyond that too, because I've been the designated driver and they still try to get me drunk.
Right?
No, see, I've never
because it makes I can explain the reasons why, by the way. As somebody that's been surrounded by alcoholics my whole life, most people that are alcoholics never admit they're alcoholics, but they always want you to get drunk so nobody notices them. That's what they do. They do it on purpose. Okay? And I had a stepmother used to do that too, because my dad was an alcoholic. My stepmother was an alcoholic, but my stepmother used to act like she was the one that didn't drink. And so she would feed my dad drinks all the time. and then complain that he was a drinker, but feed him drinks. So he would be the one that would look like the idiot and nobody would even notice she was drinking. It's a pretty common thing that happens for a lot of people. But the thing is, okay, here's real quick on the motivational end, and then we'll continue the relationship stuff next week. But here's the thing. Okay. So I just basically said to this person, I'm like, first of all, why would you not read somebody's profile online before asking to exchange numbers? That's the whole point. So you can find out those things ahead of time. So you, again, an example of people wasting their time, and not towards me, towards her. She wasted her own time. Okay. The other thing is that basically, if you find something like that and you think there's going to be an issue or you make an assumption, why not have a conversation with that person and find out what their deal is? That's why I said to this person, I'm like, well, maybe you should have had a communication with me first before just discounting it. Because I'm not an alcoholic, in case that's what you were thinking, because that's what they always think. If you don't drink, you must be in the program, And then she pulled the same thing that racists pull. She's like, no, that's not the case. I know plenty of people which this is the red flag too. Plenty of people that have, overcame their drinking, and I have the utmost, respect for them and very proud of them, and it's like, I don't think that's really the case. Okay. It was like, I have a friend from Louisiana, like that. It would be kind of like that, oh yeah, I'm not racist against Rebel. I have friends in Louisiana. Kind of like that. So,
nice.
Well, I'm racist against olive people, so let's just
then
I'm not really racist against olive people, because it would be against myself. I'm Italian, but I'm not olive skinned, and neither are you. So, boom. Enough about that. We'll just bring that up once in a while with the KKK. Okay, and so, but just communicate with me. And then it would be more my reaction would be like, if you communicate, you would have found I just don't like it. I don't have a problem. I'm not going to be uncomfortable. I can't tell you how many dates I've gone on where that doesn't come up ahead of time. They order a drink. I order a water. They call the server back over and change their drink to a water. You don't have to do that. If you want to have a drink, have a drink. I don't give a crap.
Wait, they changed their drink from soda to water or alcohol?
No, from alcohol because they are uncomfortable. They don't want to drink alone. She even made a comment like, oh, I want to be able to go out with the person and go have a drink. First of all, I have no problem going to a bar, a nightclub, any of that. I'll do it, and it doesn't bother me at all. You can all get drunk. I love it because it gives me great entertainment.
And gives you stuff for the show. Exactly.
It's good material. Chad was some of the best material. To be honest. Brad. Yeah, exactly. Listen, and if you have that's usually the sign you're an alcoholic. If you are uncomfortable because somebody else is not drinking with you for that same reason I said before. But so that was part of the Pipeman Radio Tour weekend anyway. So going back to your initial thing, somebody was eliminated. And so I just went by myself, which is better all the time anyway. Just go by yourself.
It makes it easier for girls to hit on you without thinking you're with somebody.
And you could do whatever you want. I had somebody else, we'll talk about that next week too, that oh yeah, well, I don't like the way you handled this or whatever. And it was me being Dean instead of Pipeman is the problem. And they're like, I listened to your show and I thought it was great and I'm going to refer it to everybody. Don't tell people that either, because I think that may not be the case. especially after they hear this. But I didn't talk about them except this part. I didn't talk about them, but this part. But and I'm not going to mention who it is. But you know how many times people have said that kind of stuff to me? You know, where they're like, "Oh yeah, well, you know, blah 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 blah." But I'm going to listen to your show and refer it to everybody. Just end it with the "I don't like you" or "I don't want to be with you" or whatever. You don't have to soften the blow with bullshit because it's very apparent bullshit. Like I
Maybe they're
know
warning you. They're going to listen to the show, so they don't want to hear about themselves on the show since they caused
that's
this
all the more
wonderful
reason
rhetoric.
I'm going to talk about them. So that might be the wrong warning. If you would just let it go, I wouldn't even think about it and wouldn't even be on the show right now. You know,
And yet,
first of all,
they provided you with material.
that's why I don't tell, like, women always want me to tell them how to listen to their show. I'm like, no, I want to get to know you. I don't want you to get to know my radio personality. Okay. And it happens all the time. That's like the first thing they'll ask. And, you know, in one part, I get it. It's cool. You want to see what I'm about. You think you're not going to find that from my radio show. But you also want to like see, oh, there it is. I'm allergic to cats. The cat can't be on the show.
I'm trying to get you unallergic to cats. See, you need to be exposed to him a little bit more. So
I've tried the exposure thing and it doesn't work. But anyway, so seriously, you know, the weekend was fun because I was working. That was another thing. Somebody else made some comment because I was covering all these events, and they're like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I'm working. Like, I'm sorry that offends you. It is weird these days. Everything you say to somebody, it doesn't matter what it is. And I think
true.
I think we need to just kind of communicate with people better now. I think we kind of just like accept people better now. Love everybody for what they do. Everybody's doing what they need to do and what they want to do. And you're not going to change that. And that is,
Right.
and you nor should you. You know, you should accept people for who they are or don't. That's advice I give my kids all the time. And
part of the reason about them not understanding, like when you work, some people's jobs, like doctors, firefighters, police, sometimes you have to, step
spit
up.
it out, rebel.
Sometimes you have to step up and do things. Like even people in the media, sometimes you have to just step up and do things. And not everybody understands that. Not everybody understands, like, why do you have to work this day? Well,
Or
why
the
do you have to
last
work the days you
minute
work?
media stuff. Like somebody said to me, oh, it'd been nice if you asked me sooner. I'm like, well, if I could ask you sooner, I would. But this is how media works. You find out the last minute most of the time, you know, or even
Right,
with
but
the
they don't understand
festivals.
that.
No,
And they expect, like, it's fine. I was dating a doctor, and he could be on call, but I couldn't be on call for certain things. It's like,
yeah.
do you see
Well, there's
the
a lot of
problem here?
women that don't accept the doctor being on call. They also think that that's not really what's going on.
Well, see, I had no problem, but we'd be out somewhere, and he's like, the pager goes off, or yes, they do still carry those for certain things.
That was
His
his
pager,
drug dealer. You want to finish with the doctor's story?
He was making a house call.
No, he brought me to the hospital with him, because we were out, and I'm like, oh, I'm understanding. He's like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, you don't need to be sorry. It's your job. I understand. I knew that. Some of the military guys I used to date, when they got called up, you go. I mean, you don't, oh, I'm sorry, I'm on a date, I can't, National Guard people will get called out like instantly, right out. Military, it wasn't so bad, but depending on where you were, they would call you. Come on to the base.
Are they still a thing, the National Guard?
Yes.
Yes, very much so.
The branch of the government you never hear from.
But
the Merchant Marines too.
Well,
and sometimes
no,
they
you
go to
hear-
sail for a boat.
You hear
Space
from the
Force,
National
I feel
Guard.
like Space Force gets more promo than they do.
Well, you do hear from National Guard when there's like catastrophes and they get sent in. That's when you hear from, because that's all they do. They get sent
They're
up.
like a cleanup crew.
Yeah, they're like you're on call when there's a disaster. And
The Army National Guard. Let me be specific. Army National Guard.
yeah,
Is there a
Not the
difference?
National Guard to boat. Yes, there's a difference. The Army National Guard is military, more military affiliated, and is military actually, whereas the National Guard is Marine stuff. I'm fairly certain, or do I have that backwards?
So would you say that?
Coast Guard. Sorry, difference between
yeah,
the
you're
Coast
thinking
Guard
of Coast Guard
Yeah.
thing,
and the
Don.
National
Guard
Guard.
is something different.
The
Would you
Coast
say
National
they're
Guard
doing a
Guard,
good job at guarding the nation?
No, they're military people. They
I know, but are they doing a good job at guarding the nation?
the
they do
Coast
what they're
Guard.
told.
National Guard.
Yeah, only because their boat it doesn't go on land.
Coast Guard.
Yeah,
Anyway, yes. So, but anyway, all of those type of people can be called up at a moment's notice because they're on call jobs.
that's going to be in my platform on 2028. By the way, we're going to just build a canal along the border, and we'll put the Coast Guard in that canal. Forget the wall. Don't need the wall. You know, because what if you live on this side of the wall? It's a pretty nice view in Mexico. I don't want to look at a wall.
No. So, that's a lot of stuff we set up for a relationship show for next week.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So I'm going
How about
back
the
to the
rest of
hot
your
air
weekend?
balloon ride thing.
yes. How about the
Okay.
rest of your weekend?
So that was pretty cool. They had the hot air balloons, they had the vendors, they had food, they had were taking people up. There were a kite show and all that stuff. I have
Did
to go-
anybody's kite get tangled up in a hot air balloon? Because that kind of seems like that would not be two things you would put together: kites and hot
They're
air
not
balloons.
dumb. They wouldn't do it like that. Okay, you know, it's a festival. They know what they're doing. But here's what I do want to say: it's people. I'm glad you did that because it's people like you that annoy the crap out of me. Okay,
Of course.
because the comments that people put on events, it just blows my mind. It's predominantly negative. I thought that would go away after the COVID lockdown. It has
What was
not.
negative about what I said? I was a curiosity. I mean, if you have things flying in the air, they could get tangled up. Kites get tangled up
You
together.
don't see that as negative? Like,
No.
oh yeah, I was gonna go to the event, but I didn't because I was thinking about how those things would tangle up and blah blah blah. Yeah, come on, it's a little obvious.
Yeah, just remember, this is an event in South Florida, not in Louisiana. Things are a little more coordinated down here.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. There.
No, but so what happened is, okay, so it was very clear for this event on the ticket, and you were getting constant updates that if there was too much wind, the balloons couldn't go up. Why? Duh. It's not safe, people. This ain't the Wizard of Oz, okay? And so that wasn't safe either. You know, and people too, especially in Florida because of the weather, probably Louisiana too, they kind of think if it's not a hurricane, there's no wind. Okay? But to die on a hot air balloon, you don't need a hurricane or tornado, okay?
What people fail to understand is that the higher up you go, the stronger the winds get.
Oh, totally. That's why, okay, I'm on the 36th floor. So I was like, I wanted to go out surfing yesterday. So instead of just looking out my window and feeling how it was, I literally went down to the beach to make sure it was as windy as it was up top, because windy is not good for surfing. Now, it turned out it still wasn't good for surfing, but it certainly was way less windy down on the beach than it was up here. So you're absolutely correct. And the thing is, it's a hot air balloon. They have to worry about the safety of the people there. You have to worry about the liability aspect of it. The
They
insurance
weren't going that high though, right? Like the most they can go is 60 feet because they're
Something-
close to an airport.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. But the thing is that a lot of times insurance companies with events dictate what you can do and what you can't do. So I'm sure the insurance company dictated at this mile per hour, you can't go up. So I saw all kinds of people commenting, waste of money, blah, 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 do. They said wind. That's a bunch of crap. There was no wind. I was there. There was wind. Okay. You could see the balloon going like this. Okay. That means there's wind when it's just sitting still. Okay. But the thing is here's the thing. Okay. Look at motivational. I look at motivationally. Okay. The update said, if there's wind, you can have your ticket free for tomorrow, the next day, or next year, or whenever. So you're not losing anything. And now you got possibly 2 events in one, because instead of to pay to go each day, now you get to go 2 days. And then if it's windy again, you get to go again. So I look at it as like, hey, let it be windy every day. I'll be going to this thing for the next 20 years for free.
So wait a minute. Did they air up the balloons? They said they couldn't fly the balloons, but did they air them up?
Oh, yeah. People were saying.
So you still got to see the balloons. It doesn't say flying air balloons.
People complain about everything. Listen, music festivals, they complain if their band got sick and dropped out, okay? And they're pissed off. Like, dude, go to their concert. It's a festival. There's 59 other bands you could go see, okay? People just complain about everything. And I think we need to, this is my point is, maybe start enjoying life and stop being so miserable about everything. And maybe like, look at the good side of it. The good side I looked at is it was a nice day out. It was South Florida. It wasn't super hot because of the wind. So yeah, maybe I didn't go up in the balloon, but I got to see it. I got to hang out. I got to do some different activities, a magic show, this and that. And you know what? It was kind of cool. Okay. So stop complaining. Find the good things. Okay. There's always something good to find, even in your cat, Rebel.
I'm sure. See, these are motivational things. You know why? Because if you're feeling down or anything, if you have one of these that never wants to leave you alone and always right in your arms like a baby, you'll just love it.
Yeah, except, okay, let's not give up false news. Not all cats are like that. Most of them are jerk-offs that don't want you.
That hasn't been my experience with cats.
Yeah, and most people that love cats love that the cats are jerk-offs because they're not so needy, you know. Oh. But you get like a 200-pound dog that thinks it's a lap dog, okay? They're kind of needy.
Nothing wrong with that, but ladies and gentlemen, if you do choose to take one of these fur babies into your life, it's a lifelong commitment. Their life or yours, okay? And if you go first, make sure you make arrangements for them. This is not something you could just drop off at a truck stop, not something you could just discard, and don't ever get one unless you're prepared for it to be a lifetime. It's or yours.
Why'd you bring up truck stop? Sounds like something somebody did before.
The other day we were driving. Now there's some truck stops up there, nearby the studio. The other day I was going to Enterprise Rent-A-Car, and I have to pass between 2 of the truck stops. Here comes this little puppy running out.
Well, that's not cat, though. Of course, you wouldn't leave a puppy at a truck stop.
They did. They made that little puppy run after. I was so sad. Well, the puppy was running after a vehicle in traffic, and there's 2 turnabouts.
Sometimes that's what they do for fun. Yeah. April, my pug, used to run after cars and like bump its nose up to its wheel as it's driving by. It was the scariest crap ever.
You could see it in this little puppies, and he was a tiny one. It looked like I don't know, a smaller version dog. It was lost. Its whole little demeanor is like, how could you just drop me off? Where are you going? Don't leave me, type of thing.
Was it Toto?
No.
Oh, okay. Because we're talking about the hot air balloons, Wizard of Oz.
No,
I thought you were leading up to a story about Toto getting lost in Oz.
Can we see the puppy?
I didn't pick it up.
With you?
No,
you didn't pick it up.
I went back for it. I was stuck in the turnabout.
Oh, so you didn't even help the poor puppy.
So you said, "Oh, that is so messed up," and then just kept going.
Wait a minute! Don't do that. No. I was in a turnabout.
I don't know what's worse: the person that left it or the person that saw it and then just ignored it.
What was I supposed to do in between all these 18-wheelers and cars aimlessly trying to get to the interstate? Just block off traffic so I can try to get the dog to me? What happened
Well,
was
it's better
I
than
was,
those trucks running the dog over that you didn't block.
again, I was not near the dog, or I would have. I had to go around the turnabout. When
I think
I
it's
was
because
going
it was
around
a
the
dog
turnabout,
and not a cat. That's what I think.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I'm allergic to cats. I'd sooner pick up the dog, okay, because it's easier to rehome a dog.
Why
sometimes.
do you have a cat if you're allergic to cats?
It's not mine. Animal Actors down the way.
Like I've actually
attached to me.
known people that I've dated, and they're like, well, why don't you just take medicine every day? Like, why don't I avoid being around a cat? Like, why do I have to take medicine to be around a cat when I can just not be around the cat? That's
I
my
make
thought
myself
process.
Available to the things that I'm allergic to, providing that I don't need to pull out an EpiPen, which I don't for cats. And I just deal with it.
I
because
don't think
that's
you
what
can.
it is.
I don't think you have to use an EpiPen for an animal allergy, do you?
You could have to if it's
Yeah.
bad enough.
It gets that bad?
Oh yeah.
I've never seen a case that bad. Like, I'm allergic to anything with fur, but it's just like cold symptoms.
So basically what you're saying is if they don't, wax or scape or whatever, you're allergic.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Oh God.
Because if you truly want to know what it's like to be a cat and have a fur ball, you go back to the 70s and you could do some research on that.
Oh.
Well, I wouldn't be able to go back to the 70s. It would be my first time going to the 70s.
Well, you'd have to go back because it's back in time. Like,
Yeah, but he wasn't there, so
But that's
he
inferring
would
that I
have
was
to
there
still
in the
go
70s
back.
and I'm going back to the 70s.
Like, let me just explain it. Okay.
Yes.
It's similar to, okay, you know how in Wellington there, they keep on knocking down all the trees to build concrete buildings?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of the same thing. Like, somebody decided to just go through and whack all the bushes so that there would be a hardwood floor. It's what they call it. They call it a hardwood floor. You don't know that, Rebel?
No.
Yeah, they literally do. If you go to one of the people that does waxing or that kind of stuff, or there are people nowadays when you're single that they have that question. Is it a bald eagle? Is it a landing strip? Or is it hardwood floors?
Now, is it hardwood floors because it's smooth or because it's
Yes.
hard?
Well, probably that too, but because it's smooth. Because, like, okay, so they used to say, does the carpet match the drapes? And if you say that to
one I've
somebody
heard.
today, they're going to say, I don't have any carpet. I have hardwood floors. That's where the hardwood floors comes from, to compare it to the carpet.
Okay.
See?
Okay.
So it stays within the theme.
Now, my question is, if you're somebody that does not scape, okay, since you guys brought it up, okay, if you're somebody that does not scape.
You brought it up.
No, you brought it up, Rebel.
No, you did.
So if you're somebody that does not scape, okay, so, and you're getting older, do you dye it or then do you give in and shave it? What would you what did you decide, Rebel?
I am not answering that question. You don't need to.
So it's gray and stringy down there, is what you're saying.
Oh God, no.
Oh,
Yeah,
I would go full silver fox.
Well, we just learned something about one.
Ladies and gentlemen, please do not dye any hair that is not on the top of your head.
Okay, wait a
That's what that
minute.
means, though. Like,
Wait a
full
minute,
silver
Rebel.
fox means you're not gonna dye it back the way it was
Right.
before. You're just letting it be gray.
Yeah, you just let it be gray. But wait a minute, Rebel. Again, some non-credit to the Louisiana education system. Okay. You do know that there's women out there that actually cut fantasy colors, dye their underarm hair. It started with Madonna. Don't you remember we talked about that on the show years ago when Madonna was doing that? She had the pink underarm hair. Okay.
Why would you?
And so if
that?
you would do it there, why wouldn't you do your pubes?
If you read the box, it says not for use anywhere other than.
Well, because they have to put that there because they don't think somebody's going to put it up their butthole, you know?
There is a warning on a curling iron not to insert into any orifice. So therefore,
because people are stupid enough that they would do that.
That only applies if the iron is on. There. That only applies if the iron is on and plugged into the wall. If it's not, then you're fine.
It's usually left on, so you always have to be careful when it comes to a curling iron. Curling irons start fires. Okay, so if she has a stick up her butt, it might be the curling iron.
Oh God. It also has a warning on shaving cream not to use by open flame. So you tell me what they did there.
Well,
there's chips that people eat that says it's flammable.
Yeah.
I think Doritos is one of them.
Yeah, they can.
The bag says it's flammable.
Yeah, see? So, like, what are you talking about, Rebel?
Like,
and how about the people that dye their eyebrows or dye their beard? Everybody used to always say you should do your beard blue.
It's not done with hair dye. It's not done with hair dye that you dye your hair with.
They absolutely do, just like I dye my beard with hair dye.
With beard hair dye, it's different. Please, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to the show, do not use regular hair dye.
First of all, I have used the regular hair dye. The reason there's stuff made for your beard is because it lasts longer. That's the difference. The dye is horrible for you, whether it's beard dye or hair dye. It's horrible for you. But the reason why you don't use hair dye, as somebody with experience, is it doesn't last as long.
It can also burn your face.
No, if it burns your face, so is the beard hair. No, it's never burned my face, ever.
Just shouldn't do it. Okay, there's ways.
I'm just telling you, and it's never burned my hoo-ha either. Oh wait, I don't have a hoo-ha.
Well, that's a whole different thing when it burns down there, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's usually because of something that was contracted. Or Bactrim. Did you know that? Do you know that pharmaceutical drugs can cause yeast infections and UTIs?
It says it on the back of the package.
Yeah, and I've experienced it.
You fix one thing, then something else needs fixing.
Yeah, but if you listen to the side effects or possible side effects that can happen from pharmaceuticals, it is.
And they're always the same thing that you're treating too. It's always the same thing that you're treating, because basically all antidepressants can cause depression and suicidal thoughts.
And homicidal thoughts.
My brain. Okay. This is how my brain works. If you're gonna prescribe that shit for me, I'm like, yeah, wait a minute. And nobody questions this.
This is how my brain works. How does a medication give you those types of thoughts?
Because it's changing your chemical makeup. That's why. And they're drugs. That's why.
Things in your brain.
If you smoke pot, it changes your thoughts. If you drink alcohol, it changes your thoughts.
Yeah, but it's never the thought of like, hey, I'm gonna end it today. You know what I mean?
Oh, plenty of drunks are like that. You know how when people get super drunk.
But they had that thought before they were drunks. That's why they became drunks.
Well, they had that thought before that they took the antidepressants too, because otherwise they wouldn't be on antidepressants.
I don't know. People who think that people who are experiencing depression don't necessarily experience homicidal tendencies. Okay.
Nobody said anything about homicide, Rebel. What do you do in your spare time?
They
Correction. She meant to say self-homicide.
All right, let's talk
I
about
do
the rest of the
have some.
weekend before we run out of time here,
Oh,
because
yes.
I am
10
determined to end on time today. Okay.
Okay.
So then Saturday, I went to this big art event they have here in Palm Beach County called ArtiGras. That at least Swamp Nut might be familiar with just because it says gras on it. Okay. Does it piss you off, Rebel, that everybody else has a Mardi Gras and really there's only one real Mardi Gras?
No.
I don't mean ArtiGras, but I mean like, Universal have Mardi Gras. Like Mardi Gras is your thing. Why are you allowing everybody else to take it?
It's not my thing, and it's not only a Louisiana thing. If you look into it, it wasn't only here to begin with.
Okay, let's talk about ArtiGras then. They have like all these cool artists. It was pretty cool, and I found a new favorite restaurant because of ArtiGras. Okay,
Ooh,
because
what restaurant?
I was going to the cooking demonstrations, and the first one was a vegan one, and that caught my attention. Okay, and so the restaurant's on Okeechobee Boulevard in West Palm Beach called Dope Vegan. What a great name, Dope Vegan. You understand what dope means, right, Swamp Nut? We're not talking about drugs here, okay? It's not vegan drugs, okay?
It's a slang term for happy.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Well, yeah, I guess.
I always thought dope was like the word for dumb. Like, oh, you're a dope.
That used to be that my generation. That's true. My generation is true. Your generation decided to turn it into something that, hey man, it's really cool.
I mean, we make everything green, right? we have to go green with everything. So
yeah, see, usually the people that are saying, "Hey, that's dope," they're usually stoned too. So going with the green comment, okay? But no, seriously, man, this shit was good. Okay, she even said she was cooking. She cooked it right there in front of us, but vegan is tough. There's good places, there's bad places. It's a lot of trial and error, but man, I would go to this restaurant for sure. Just everything she explained, how she prepared it, what she uses, and then I got to taste it, and it was amazing. And then this was pretty cool. Okay, this might catch your attention, Juan. Okay. There's this other restaurant, and they were not restaurant, but he does catering. Okay, and he's a chef, and he made these tacos that instead of using a taco shell, because he was using a little thing for samples, it was a plantain chip shell he made, and it looked like a little cup from plantain chips, and was actually pretty good. To me, it wasn't a taco, but
it'll never be a taco. If you have a taco that doesn't have meat in it, it's not a taco.
No, this wasn't a vegan place. This one, he made a vegan version for the vegans there, but he wanted it to be healthier. It's actually Haitian food, okay, that he specializes in, and he used ground turkey as a healthy alternative for people there. Usually he would use beef or pork. So it was more about the shell that I thought was pretty cool. That was like a plantain chip shell, So is that what tostones are? Are they what plantain chips? I can't remember.
Technically, yes, but I think that's Puerto Rican, not Mexican.
No, well, I didn't say Mexican or Puerto Rican. Okay, you didn't have to make it a thing, Juan.
I mean, we don't have tostones. That's what I'm saying.
So that was one of those things where when people come up to you, it's kind of annoying when they're like, "Hey, do you like mofongo?" It kind of annoys you because
I've never had mofongo, so.
Oh, so
there's no way I can answer that. Yeah.
So you've never been to prison?
No.
Yeah, it's a big thing in prison.
I've been to jail, but not prison.
Oh, okay, good. You're not talking about the studio, are you?
No, that's another type of.
Okay,
prison.
So that was Saturday. Let's go to Sunday. Sunday, I was at Polo for the first time in forever. Like,
Ooh, cool.
I used to broadcast live there all the time. And it's so different now. There's like multiple polos. There's like polo everywhere. So I went to this one polo first. If you remember Rebel, Ingrid Webster that did the show Welly World. So I met up with her at Grand Champions Polo. So that was really cool. And I actually brought my brother because he had never been to polo. So I wanted to show him what the polo world was like. And so then we left that one and we went over to Maine, the big polo, which we'll go another time, but we didn't go to that match. But we went to the after party at the Mallet Grill. And boy, was that a flashback because I spent many a Sundays at that Mallet Grill doing press coverage of polo. So, yeah, it was pretty cool. Luckily, I did not run into Thing 2 because the last time I was at the Mallet Grill, I ran into Thing 2. I was making out with some girl. She was with her husband, and she lost her shit and went psycho on me right on the dance floor. Why do you people do that? I'm talking to you, Swamp Nut.
What do you mean, you people?
Why yeah. Like, you're divorced, you're married to somebody else, and you're pissed off because I'm making out with somebody else?
No. I mean,
my sister-in-law said it once. She goes, we don't want you, but we don't want anybody else to have you. Why do you people think that way?
I don't. I congratulate the person and warn them of things they should win. Like, hey, good luck with that.
So let's talk now seriously, though. Let's talk motivational about going to events and stuff like that. Because, sometimes we are in the comfort of our own home. We don't want to go anywhere. We don't want to do anything. And then we wonder why we start like maybe having a little bit of, mental anguish, mental health issues,
because people are staying home.
Well, yeah,
or going out again.
Well, no, because they stay home and they don't do anything, or they don't get like. One thing is if you are going through mental anguish with stuff, I don't believe you should just sit at home. You need to get out there and get your mind off stuff, because when you sit at home, all you have to do is think about all that bad stuff, and then you don't want to go anywhere. You don't want to be around people. We've all done it. And don't put that up there. And so
no, I see it.
So basically when you get out there in the world, I think it's one of the best ways to get over any kind of mental health issues you're having, any kind of grief you're having, any kind of negativity, darkness you're having, because number one, getting out there in the world, especially if there's sunlight, that vitamin D alone does a world of favors to you. But also just being around people and doing things and having your mind occupied, it's just so much healthier. It's healthy. And now let's talk about the physical, okay? It's definitely much healthier, because I can tell you, even being in Florida this year during the Pipeman homeless tour that was paused for this year, okay? So when I'm in Costa Rica, as an example, or Europe or Bali or wherever I am in the world, and I'm not getting a vehicle, like I'm walking everywhere. So I'm putting in like, who knows how many miles per week? A lot. Definitely at least 30, 40,000 steps a day minimum. Okay. But when you're at home and you're in your comfort zone, you sometimes tend to not do that, because you're not going anywhere, you're hanging out, or you're working and you're not going anywhere. Listen, when I noticed it too this weekend. I was like, and because I kind of didn't even want to go to some of them. I just wanted to chill. But then like in Costa Rica, I was noticing, like, I made it a point to always stop whatever I was doing and go get lunch. And I would walk somewhere to get lunch. Or I would stop what I was doing and go see the sunset. I still got as much work done, but sometimes what people tend to do is they let life get in the way and they don't enjoy things in life. They don't go do the things they enjoy. They don't experience things. They don't, especially nowadays that we have so much remote stuff, like to me, work was always a social thing, but if you're not in that environment anymore, then that's not a social thing, and those are all healthy things. I think the remote life is making more mental health issues. I think the remote life is making more physical health issues.
But what about the people on the flip side who have anxiety going around people and stuff like that? Going out and about would not be good for them.
Maybe, or maybe they have anxiety because they're not doing it. It's possible. It's possible when you don't do something for a while, I wouldn't say anxiety, but it happens to me sometimes because I'm always being an extrovert and I'm always out there at events and stuff, that sometimes I don't want to put that face on. Okay. So what ends up happening is I stay, like there's times I've come home from Pipeman Radio Tour and I don't even leave my place for like a week, and it's for those reasons, but that's not healthy either. But what I also noticed too, is I'm in way better physical shape the other way. Okay. And that's why I say about the physical, because you can get the exercise without having to go to a gym. You can, and I am running a little over, but I do want to finish this part. But, there's some people that don't like to go in a gym or don't want to go to a gym. I'm one of those people. I'd rather do the fun stuff, to get my exercise, and it is boring to go do cardio. It is boring to do certain things, but
you have to do cardio at home.
Well, yeah, right.
Playing Madden football.
Exactly. But see, if I go to these events, I'm walking all over the event, I'm very active, and that's the physical part. And I don't even notice it. Like I did time, like I normally would, like I do my 30-minute walk every day. My 30-minute walk turned into like a 5-hour walk every single day. And that's the point, is you actually go over and above what you would do at a gym because you're not noticing you're doing it. And then there's the social aspect of it. You brought up anxiety, but you still need to socialize. Human beings need other people. And the more you're seclude and isolate yourself, the worse the anxiety gets. You can see it with so many people. They do that, and then they have even more social anxiety, okay, because they're not used to being around people. And so bottom line is getting out there in the world, experiencing things. It doesn't mean having to go to an event either if you have anxiety. Going for a walk on the beach by yourself, going on nature hike, whatever it may be, getting outside of your environment, I think is extremely important for physical, mental, and emotional well-being.
Yeah, I don't think I can do that anymore.
Yeah, no, you can't. You're not allowed.
Just walking by myself in the middle of like the woods or something like that.
Are you
think
scared?
I'm doing something else.
Oh, yeah, you're scared now, right?
I'm scared to exercise now.
Yeah. Now, unless you're gonna get the D, go out there. So, and that wasn't a reference to you and the KKK, Swamp Nut. Okay,
with my luck, I'll go out on a cloudy day.
Right. Exactly. But even in a cloudy day, you get that vitamin D, and so, yeah, I mean, it's nice to be around people. That's why I felt like when I went to the Mallet Grill yesterday, I was like, wow, I miss doing this. This was fun, and I think that's what happens is like sometimes you get so used to doing nothing and not being around anything that becomes your comfort zone. But sometimes you got to jump out your comfort zone to get the things you want out of life. And as far as personal and business success, definitely it is a helpful that's the only way you're going to make friends. It's the only way you're going to meet somebody. It's not going to be hiding behind a screen at home. And as far as business goes, getting out there and going to events is the best way to brand your business, to grow your business, to market your business, to promote your business, and to get new clients. We can talk more about that on another show, but I went over once again. I think it had to do with Swamp Nut and her carpet. I don't know. But
wrong answer.
And I have one last question before we go, Rebel. Okay,
Maybe.
First of all, before I ask that question, I just got to tell everybody, tune in tomorrow for Travel Tuesday. And Wednesday for What the Fuck Wednesday on the Adventures of Pipeman, same time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, W4CY Radio, W4CY.com. And then you can check out my podcast for interviews and all that stuff. But I was going to ask you a question, Rebel.
What?
I don't know. What was I going to ask you? Now I forget.
I don't know.
Seriously, though, I don't know what I was going to ask you. It probably doesn't even matter. It's probably stupid. We'll ask you tomorrow when I remember.
Very good.
I do have one last question to ask you, Rebel, though. What are you doing tomorrow?
Tuning in for Travel Tuesday right here on W4CY.com.
All right, so tune back in tomorrow for Rebel Meddler as she tells you about all her travels all over the great continent of Hammond. Thanks for listening, folks. Roll it, Juan.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.